She had no mama, no home, and no one to care. Until a busy CEO's world was turned upside down by a little girl's simple question, "Can I spend the day with you?" Mia tugged at the hem of her worn jacket, her small backpack bouncing against her shoulders as she wandered through the bustling city park. The laughter of other children filled the air, but she felt invisible, a little girl without a mama to guide her through life's ordinary moments. She watched mothers with their children, longing for the warmth and guidance she had never known. Her attention was caught by a tall woman walking briskly along the paved path. She carried herself with the effortless confidence of someone accustomed to command, her tailored suit and sharp heels marking her as a figure from another world entirely. Elena, a CEO known for her precision, ambition, and often intimidating presence, was completely absorbed in her phone, talking in clipped sentences that carried authority. Mia hesitated, then stepped forward, her small voice barely audible over the noise of the park. "Excuse me," she began, twirling a strand of hair nervously. Elena looked down, startled by the sudden interruption. I have no mama," Mia said, her big brown eyes brimming with earnestness. "Can I spend a day with you, ma'am?" Elena froze, unsure whether to respond. She had encountered requests from children before, volunteer programs, charity events, but never a personal, heart-wrenching plea like this. The girl's innocence, vulnerability, and sincerity struck something inside her that she had long ignored. She glanced around the busy park, expecting someone to step in, but the little girl stood there, waiting, hoping, and trusting a stranger with the raw honesty of a child who had nobody else. Elena's first instinct was to say no. Her schedule was packed with meetings, calls, and decisions that affected hundreds of employees. She wasn't equipped to care for a child on a whim. But something about Mia's eyes, a mix of hope and quiet courage, made her pause. After a long, measured breath, Elena nodded. "All right," she said, her voice softer than she intended. "Come with me. But just for today, understand? You have to stay close, and you have to listen." Mia's face lit up with a radiant smile that made Elena feel a flutter of warmth she hadn't felt in years. In that moment, the bustling park, the busy city, and the world of schedules and deadlines seemed to fade. All that mattered was the small girl standing before her, daring to hope, and the woman who, despite herself, was about to step into a day that would change them both. Elena led Mia down the busy streets toward her office, the little girl's small hand clutching hers tentatively. The city's noise, the honking cars, chatter of pedestrians, and distant construction, seemed almost distant to Elena, her mind whirring with schedules, deadlines, and board meetings. She wasn't used to slowing down, especially for someone so unexpected, so fragile. Mia glanced around in wide-eyed wonder, taking in the towering buildings, the glass facades, and the streams of people who seemed too busy to notice her. She tugged gently at Elena's sleeve. "Is this your office?" she asked, a mixture of awe and nervousness in her voice. Elena hesitated, adjusting the strap of her bag, unsure how to respond. She had always kept her professional life meticulously separate from personal connections, never letting anyone inside the carefully guarded walls of her success. Yet something about Mia's earnestness, the way she looked at the world with longing rather than entitlement, stirred a protective instinct that Elena hadn't felt in years. "Yeah," she said finally, forcing a smile. "This is where I work. But I should warn you, it's not exactly a playground." Mia's eyes sparkled. "I don't care. I want to be with you today." Elena paused, glancing down at the child's hopeful face. Her heart clenched in an unfamiliar way. She could make excuses, she thought, say her day was too full, that she had meetings, that the corporate world didn't have time for a child. But she didn't. Something in Mia's gaze made those excuses seem petty. "All right," Elena said, taking another deep breath. "You can come with me. Just for today. But you have to promise to stay close, and you have to listen to me, okay?" Mia's face broke into a wide, radiant smile, and she nodded enthusiastically. "I promise." As they entered the gleaming lobby of Elena's office building, the little girl's eyes followed every detail, the polished floors, the reception desk, the busy assistants moving with purposeful efficiency. Elena, in turn, felt a strange shift inside herself. The little girl's trust and innocence had carved a tiny space in her structured, controlled life, and for the first time in years, she wondered what it might feel like to let someone in, not just for a day, but perhaps longer. The office door slid open, and Mia stepped inside, small and tentative, yet full of wonder. Elena followed silently, already feeling that this day, so unexpected, might leave a mark neither of them would ever forget. The morning passed in a flurry of activity. Elena showed Mia her office, introducing her to a few assistants who peeked curiously at the little girl. At first, Mia hung close to Elena, shy and quiet, but as the day unfolded, her curiosity began to take over. She pointed at the tall stacks of papers, the bustling phones, and the blinking computers with wide-eyed wonder. Elena watched her quietly, noticing how the girl's eyes lit up at even the smallest details. There was a natural curiosity and intelligence in her gaze, a spark that reminded Elena of herself at that age, before the demands of the corporate world had taught her to hide emotion behind efficiency and authority. During lunch in the office cafeteria, Mia chattered shyly about her favorite books and her dreams, her voice soft but full of life. Elena listened, offering gentle encouragement, and found herself laughing at the little girl's innocence and honesty. It was a sound she hadn't allowed herself to make in months, perhaps years. Later, Elena took Mia to a small conference room to show her some of the presentations she had prepared. At first, Mia fidgeted, unsure what she was supposed to do, but Elena explained patiently, showing her charts and graphs, encouraging questions. Mia's eyes sparkled as she made simple observations that surprised even Elena. The child was sharp, perceptive, and eager to learn, a reminder that intellect and worth are not measured by age or experience. Between meetings, Elena and Mia shared small moments of joy, watching the city from the floor-to-ceiling windows, sharing snacks, and telling stories from their lives. Elena realized how lonely her world had been, filled with deadlines and decisions, yet void of personal connection. Mia's presence, so sincere and unassuming, was teaching her something important, that life was not just about work, but about sharing moments of care, curiosity, and trust. By the afternoon, the barriers between them had softened. Mia was no longer just a little girl tagging along, she was a companion, a small but impactful presence that filled a space in Elena's life she hadn't realized was empty. And Elena, usually so guarded and precise, began to feel a warmth she hadn't felt in years, a budding sense of connection, of being needed in a way that had nothing to do with business. The day was far from over, but already, both knew that this unlikely encounter had shifted something profound inside them. By mid-afternoon, the office buzzed with its usual energy. Phones rang incessantly, assistants hustled between desks, and Elena's calendar reminded her of the unrelenting schedule ahead. Mia, still curious and energetic, wandered slightly too close to a stack of files. A sudden stumble sent papers cascading to the floor, drawing the attention of nearby employees. Elena's heart tightened. The instinct to scold, to maintain control, flared within her. She had carefully balanced this day, showing Mia her world while keeping her work on track. Now, it seemed as though everything might unravel in an instant. "Mia," she called gently, rushing over to help the girl gather the papers. The little girl's eyes filled with fear and guilt. I'm sorry," she whispered, her small hands trembling as she tried to pick up the mess. "I didn't mean to." Elena took a deep breath and softened. She knelt beside Mia, helping her gather the scattered papers. "It's okay," she said quietly. "Mistakes happen. What matters is that you try your best and learn from them." Mia nodded, a mixture of relief and embarrassment washing over her. In that moment, Elena realized how rarely she had extended patience and understanding in her own life. She had been so focused on precision, results, and appearances that she had forgotten the value of compassion, forgiveness, and growth. Later, when the office had quieted, Elena and Mia sat by the window, looking out over the city. "You know," Elena began softly, "I was scared today. Scared that letting you into my world would disrupt everything I've worked for." Mia tilted her head, curious and attentive. "But seeing how brave and sincere you are, it's made me realize something important," Elena continued. "Life isn't just about keeping everything perfect. It's about connections, moments, and people who matter." Mia reached out, taking Elena's hand. "I'm glad I asked to spend the day," she said shyly. Elena's chest tightened with an unexpected warmth. She realized that this day wasn't about correcting a mistake or managing a schedule, it was about opening her heart, embracing imperfection, and recognizing the value of someone who trusted her enough to step into her life. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, casting a golden glow across the office, Elena felt a quiet but profound shift within herself. She had started the day as a CEO in control of everything, but she was ending it as someone learning to see worth, trust, and connection in the simplest, most unexpected form, a little girl who just wanted a mama. Evening settled over the city, bathing the office in a warm, golden glow. The office had quieted, and the bustling noise of the day had softened into a gentle hum. Mia sat on a chair beside Elena's desk, swinging her small legs and glancing curiously at the papers and pens around her. The earlier mishap seemed like a distant memory, now replaced by laughter, conversation, and a growing bond between the two. Elena watched the little girl, a smile tugging at her lips. The day had been unexpected, chaotic at moments, and yet profoundly rewarding. For the first time in years, she felt a sense of fulfillment not tied to a contract or a successful deal, but to a human connection, raw and genuine. Mia had entered her world shyly, timidly, and had left an indelible mark on it. "You know, Mia," Elena said softly, kneeling to meet her at eye level, "I've spent a long time thinking that work, schedules, and achievements were everything. But today, you reminded me what really matters." Mia's big eyes widened, her small hand reaching out to hold Elena's. "Really?" she whispered. "Really," Elena confirmed, her voice gentle yet firm. "And I want you to know something, if you ever want, I'd love for you to spend more days like this with me. Not because I have to, but because I want to. You've taught me a lot about kindness, courage, and joy." Tears shimmered in Mia's eyes, and she nodded earnestly. I'd like that," she said softly. "I'm glad I asked today." Elena felt a flutter of warmth in her chest, the kind that comes from opening your heart despite fear, uncertainty, or the expectations of others. She realized that their day together wasn't just about showing Mia her world, it had also shown Elena something she had forgotten, the joy of connection, the importance of patience, and the simple power of care and attention. As the sky outside darkened, the city lights beginning to twinkle, Elena and Mia walked toward the elevator together. The office, usually a place of stress and deadlines, now felt alive with possibility. Mia's presence had turned it into a space of trust, laughter, and learning. That evening marked the beginning of a new chapter. For Mia, it meant having someone who truly saw her and cared for her. For Elena, it meant rediscovering the warmth of human connection she had long neglected. Together, they had forged a bond that neither schedules nor circumstances could erase, a bond built on trust, compassion, and the simple courage of asking for love. And in that golden city glow, both of them knew their lives had been changed forever.